And joining me now from Washington, D.C. is Eyre, a distinguished diplomatic fellow at the Middle East Institute. He's also a former U.S. State Department senior policymaker for the Middle East and North Africa. Very good to have you on the program, sir. How dangerous is this current situation?
Thank you, Per. It's very dangerous. I mean, there's, as your presenter said, a massive military buildup in the Persian Gulf, while at the same time, the conditions that the U.S. seems to have put forward for a deal are beyond that which Iran is willing to even consider. So it's a very tense situation.
So Trump is telling Iran now to make a deal to stop it from getting nuclear weapons, but Iran keeps saying that it doesn't want them and never has. What's the truth here? I mean, is Iran actually working on developing a nuclear weapon?
Well, it's not that. What's the part of the problem is that the United States is not making its position, its request clear. From what we know from the latest, President Trump is seeking no enrichment in Iran, no uranium in Iran, severe limits on Iran's missile program, and Iran cutting off support to proxies. So it is not just a nuclear deal that President Trump is seeking. It seems to be as a precondition for negotiations. President Trump wants Iran to cede, to accept those four conditions. And Iran has said many times, while it's willing to negotiate about its nuclear program, those other issues are off the table. So what we need here, I would hope, is a clear exposition from the United States as to what we're seeking, because recent press statements are now saying that President Trump could in fact be trying to reignite the protests to seek some type of regime change. So it's a very muddled situation, Per.
So what do you think, though, Alan? I mean, looking at this situation, we've got the public statements from Trump, you've got the movement of the U.S. Armed Forces. It certainly looks like there's another strike possibly getting closer. Is that what Trump wants, or does he actually want negotiations?
Well, he doesn't want negotiations. He wants capitulation, it seems, to the conditions he set forward. Does he want military action? All indications are that he wants military action if it's decisive and short term, because what he does not want to do, I think, is start a military process that's going to destabilize the region and engender attacks by Iran, not just on U.S., but on U.S. allies in the region. And Iran has been clear in saying that any strike on Iran will be seen as all-out war. Now, again, a lot of this is bluster from both sides, but it does seem that despite the efforts by many countries to intercede and to mediate, there seems to be no intersection set between what the U.S. wants and what Iran is willing to give.
So what do you make of that, though, this word from Iran about a possible all-out war? I mean, do you think that that is what might happen if indeed Trump decides to strike Iran?
It could well be the case. I think Iran is rethinking its strategic assumptions since the 12-day war. It sees what's happening now as an extension of that 12-day war that happened last year. And what Iran needs to do in its own mind, I think, is try to reestablish deterrence, because the pillars of deterrence it had before the 12-day war have all been destroyed. So I do think it quite possible that Iran would, for example, if there were a U.S. military strike, try to launch a lot of its missiles, not just against U.S. forces in the Gulf, but possibly also against U.S. allies in the region. Iran has a lot of missiles that can cause a lot of damage.
Eyre from the Middle East Institute. It was very good to talk to you, Alan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Per.